Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by David Lever. David, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you and your guests.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you are here. Tell everybody, you have had a fascinating career. Let's start with where we are now, and then we'll go back in time. Tell everybody a little bit about what the cool stuff that you're up to now.
Okay, so I have a law firm in White Plains, New York. We also do work in the New York City metro area and surrounding areas. And we focus on catastrophic injury cases for people that are injured in accidents due to no fault of their own. And so I opened my own shop almost 32 years ago at the ripe age of 30. And over the years, I would say my career and my focus has shifted somewhat. We are more of a boutique practice now than we used to be. We try to be very proactive with all of our clients' matters. And it also allows us to have sufficient time for each and every one of our clients. One of the things that I've really been looking at over the last maybe 5-6 years is how to treat this more as a business, as opposed to you're just a lawyer who came out of law school who is litigating cases. And when I say turn it more into a business, and doing so and at the same time never losing the empathy and human touch that we need to have for our clients.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and it's really important. Let's go back to the beginning. What inspired you to go to law school in the first place?
Well, there were a couple of things. Number one, when I was a kid, a good friend of my parents had a sister who was involved in a catastrophic accident, or I should say in a terrible car accident where she ended up losing her eyesight. And I just know that she never was able to be compensated for her losses properly. And I don't suggest that there's any amount of money that can make someone whole after losing their vision or having other types of very serious injuries. But I just felt that seeing that situation made me feel that there were people out there that needed to be represented and that needed to be fought for. Because when you look at the insurance companies, when you look at the corporations, they have plenty of lawyers, they have plenty of money. And of course, in business, their goal is to try to hold on to as much of their money as they can. But then you have someone who's involved in an accident and they can't necessarily represent themselves and really fight for their interests. I can also tell you that I had an accident when I was 17. So I know what it's like not to feel my best at certain times. And I just felt that making a difference for people would be a good way for me to pursue my craft as a lawyer.
Makes a lot of sense, and that's an incredible story. So you started this firm at the age of 30. Where'd you work before then?
Well, I came out of law school and I worked for a plaintiff's firm in Lower Manhattan for about 4 years. And I decided that an hour and a half commute that on some days would turn into 2.5 to 3 hours each way, that wasn't how I wanted to live my life. And candidly, I also said to myself, and I even said it to the partners at the firm who would say, well, someday you'll be a partner here. I said, I don't want to look in the mirror when I'm 45 and I'm gray and I'm still an associate. So they respected that. And as a matter of fact, they were helpful to me when I first started. So I was grateful for that.
Absolutely. And that's not something you necessarily see every day, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, obviously, on hanging up your own shingle 30 plus years ago. So, talk a little bit how the industry has changed since then.
Well, it's interesting because when I first started in the business, older lawyers would always tell me the business it's different. It's not how it used to be. And then, of course, now that I'm a more seasoned attorney, um, people will come into the business and will say it's different than it used to be. But I think the way it's changed is the in certain areas, certain courthouses, the cases are able to be moved through the process quicker. I remember when I first started, if you had an accident in, let's say, Bronx County, New York, once you would finish all the work on the case, the court would tell you get on the back of the line for trial, and that at that time could have been in excess of 5 years. So literally, it would take forever to get your day in court. So you could argue that justice delayed is justice denied, and so the our goal is to try to expedite these matters as best as we can. I think things have changed. I would tell you a big way that things have changed, particularly lately, is with the rise of video cameras and everyone having cell phones. It's much easier now to be able to have evidence of what actually happened. So I actually am in favor of that because if someone comes to me and they tell me a matter happened in a particular way, and an insurance representative comes to me and says, well, we have proof that indicates it's otherwise, that makes it very easy for me to make a decision. Do I still have a matter that I feel in good faith I can pursue on behalf of clients or not? So I think the rise of videos and surveillance in relation to being able to capture accidents has been a plus.
Absolutely. What are some of the biggest misconceptions you think people have when it comes to, their accident claims?
Um, well, I think there are a lot of people who feel that um, it's a very easy process and that things should be resolved in their favor very quickly. I I can tell you that the insurance companies and corporations and the medical lobby, if it's a medical malpractice matter, they have the right to defend cases. And I think that cases that should be defended, um, they should absolutely do that. On the other hand, there are matters that are very, very clear that there's liability and they should be resolved, but that doesn't mean it's going to get resolved. So people may not have a good understanding of how long a process is involved. People also may see and read about jury verdicts and think that they have a claim that's worth more than it might be. What people don't realize is that you see the headline in the newspaper, but you don't see what happens when the case resolves on appeal 2 years later.
Makes a lot of sense. That's a good point. You started out as just you. Talk a little bit about how the team has grown over the last several decades.
Well, it started out as just me and a secretary. And at one point years ago, my wife came in to help me, and she's long gone from the day to day. But I had a couple of different partners over the years. I would say that my current setup is the best one yet. I've had my current firm, Lever and Ecker, has been operating since January 2019. So we are four lawyers right now, and we have a support staff of maybe six or seven, and it works for us. We have a team that is very committed to helping our clients. And as I've always said to people, the most important thing is within the four walls of our office, that we all get along. So I can say, and I would knock on wood that you can't see here, but I'm grateful for that because there are a lot of challenges that we have to face every day in fighting for our clients, and it's very important that we're all on the same page internally so that we can make our best effort to represent our clients as best as possible.
Absolutely. You talked earlier about wanting to make it more business-like. Can you expand on that?
Well, as a plaintiff's personal injury lawyer, which is what I am, we only our cases are all contingency fee-based cases, meaning that if a person comes to us, whether they're rich or poor, they have the right to get the best lawyer of their choosing. So, in other words, I look at it as even if you don't have any money, the system that we work within provides a key to the courthouse. So, I think that when I looked at things when I was a young lawyer, let's say we would get a very good settlement. We'd be happy, like, all right, yeah, there's more money in the bank, right? But it's cyclical with the way our work is. So I try to put systems and processes in place that we're able to essentially have a steady ride. There's always going to be times where we're able to resolve more matters over a short period of time, but I've put into place different metrics in terms of how we measure productivity. We have a couple of consultants that we work with. We work with a fellow who is a law firm consultant, and he's helping us to create to harness the information we have, whether it's financial, whether it's intake, whether it's operation, whether it's management. As you know, and I'm sure all your listeners know, everyone gets too many emails and there's way too much information out there, and it becomes very hard to know where to look. So we've condensed our practice down to where we're looking at a finite amount of reports. And from that, we can see generally how the operation is going. If we look at something and we need more detail, we can always do a deeper dive. So we've been able to create a business that I say to myself, as private equity starts to move into the plaintiff's legal world, I say, well, if I was looking to sell my practice at some point, and right now you have to be a lawyer to buy a practice in New York, but I say, what would be the things that are important for someone who is looking to buy the business that would make them see value in one business versus another?
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, you've been in business and been in practice a very long time. The current partner iteration of the partnership around 6, 7 years. How do people find you?
Well, I would say that even to this day, in the age of the internet and whatnot, most of the people that find us through old clients or word of mouth. We also have other lawyers in the community that know the type of work we do and the quality of the work we do. So we're sought out by other lawyers to help them when they may, let's say, practice in a different specialty of law. We even are fortunate where we've had people in the judiciary who have come to us when they've had questions or concerns about a matter. So to me, I'd like to think that that indicates that we're doing something right. We also do a lot of well, I would marketing on the internet. So we have a website, and of course we put out articles and different content when we're fortunate enough to be invited to be a guest on a podcast. That helps. We haven't done that much of it, but we've been starting to do more with social media because it certainly seems that many people are on social media. So we just started just in the beginning stages of it, adding video to our social media feeds. There are some law firms that have been further in front than we are on those things, but we're not looking to monopolize the entire space. We're just looking for our niche. Just being able to help that select client or group of clients that can appreciate working with a firm that is big enough to be able to take on any fight, but at the same time small enough so that they never become a file number.
That makes a big difference. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Well, I would say at this stage of my career, it's even more focused on just being able to help people that have been injured through no fault of their own. And when people come to us, in all likelihood, they're facing an inability to work. They're facing potentially a lifetime of pain and suffering. And so the decision on which lawyer or law firm to hire sometimes becomes the most important decision that person can make in their life. Because if they don't get the right representation, if they don't have someone who is experienced in this field, they may not get the outcome that they deserve. And based on how a matter resolves, we hope can allow a person to live a life with dignity afterwards, even if many things have been taken away from them, unfortunately.
That. For our folks who are in the state of New York and are interested in learning more about your legal services, where is the best place for us to send them?
Well, they can always call us. The phone number is 914-288-9191. They can always find us on the internet at www.lever, which is Lever, Ecker, Ecker.com. And for anyone that contacts us, they should know that there's no charge for the consultation. I like to look at it as we try to provide people with information and an education. And that allows them to decide, A, do they have a claim that has merit? B, is it something they wish to pursue? And C, do they want to pursue it with us? Look, even if a person goes to another law firm, I always wish them well if they've been injured and it wasn't something that they were responsible for. Of course, we like to help them in-house whenever possible. But the most important thing for me is that I want to see people thrive as best as they can because it's all too common these days for people to be involved in accidents and their life gets turned upside down. And life is hard enough, right? Even when you don't have a disability or a limitation.
Absolutely. Well, we know your time is incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. This has been Seth Greene with David Lever from Lever and Ecker. David, thanks again for joining us.
So thank you for having me, and I wish your audience all the best. And of course, I wish you the best.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening, and we'll talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.